Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Cory here, and I just wanted to pop on here really quick and kind of run through almost mini review for you in somewhat of a follow-up to the book haul that I did several weeks ago. So this is a mini review, if you will, of The Black Witch by Laurie Forest. I just finished this book. It is the first in a series. I'm not sure if it's going to be a trilogy specifically, but it is the first in a multiple book series. The second book is coming out in September, and I already can't wait for it, which, spoiler alert, tells you how I feel about the book. So, when I first discussed this book on my channel, I was more intrigued by the Gardnerian reference to witches and thinking that there was going to be some sort of tie-in or reference to Wicca. That is not at all what occurred here in this book whatsoever. This is a young adult fantasy. It's surrounded by a young female protagonist around the age of 17 named Lauren Gardner, and her last name being Gardnerian, or Gardner, and in reference to her people, Gardnerians, is like the extent of the tie to Gardnerian Wicca. There's zero connection whatsoever. It's really a coincidence at this point, having read through the entire book, and I'm not at all upset by that. I was not disappointed by this book. In reading it, there were parts of The Black Witch that I felt kind of drew on a little bit. Now, granted, I am 32. This is a young adult novel. It was written for young, romantic, kids who get lost in fantasy and romance, and there's a lot of that going on, in the subplots of the book. Now I find that in reading young adult books, rather than seeing myself as the protagonist, I take the role of the protagonist's mother and spend the entire book reading through it going, no, you shouldn't do that, sweetie. Don't go down that path. This is a red flag. Fire, fire. Make this choice. And that's kind of the avenue that I take with it. That being said, the parts of the story that frustrated me aren't necessarily flaws to the story itself, if that makes sense. It's just my inner mama bear coming out going, you should come to this conclusion faster than you are, Lauren. Come on, work with me. My own inner mama dialogue coming out. But for the most part, what I did like about this book is that it did not shy away from really focusing on the main themes, which are political unrest, oppression of race, racism specifically, and how privilege really blinds us to socioeconomic issues of oppressed people, which is, I know, heavy topics for a young adult fantasy book, but I feel like with the current climate, especially with the society in the US right now, this book is necessary, and that there are necessary lessons in here for youth. I think they'll catch on to the lessons and the discussion much more quickly than adults will. And as far as this being, number one, the use of fantasy themes is done really well here, but it's secondary. in the story of what's going on within this world and its society. And even, you know, toying around with resistance, rebellion, those themes are going to be more heavily discussed in book 2. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but by the time you get to the end, that's, you know, where you're going to be headed. I was inherently frustrated that and not to give anything away, but the mystery that's set up in the very, very first scene of the book doesn't get answered. And I know that it will in the end of the series. It's, you know, a long, slow build-up. But the entire time I was reading this book, I was like, can somebody answer this damn question? And let me know what is happening here. And it doesn't get answered. So if you are a very impatient person when it comes to storylines and can't wait for riddles to be solved, if that slow build up just annoys the shit out of you, you're probably gonna get frustrated with this book. Just saying. But I think it was well done, and I will be getting number 2. We'll read that as well. We'll talk about it. We'll post it. If you guys would like to see me do additional witchy book reviews, I would love to put those on my channel and kind of add it in as another layer to this kind of mystical witchy channel that I'm building here. The next book that I just started reading and we'll be navigating through is The Bone Witch, which is what you guys saw is another book that I grabbed in that book haul on Mother's Day last month. So I'm very interested in this one and seeing where it goes, and would like to post a review on that as well. But if you guys are like, let's not talk about books, Cory, I could give a shit, let me know. And we'll just stop with this one. But I wanted to check in with you guys, let you know how this book went, what I thought of it, and yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and we'll be picking up number 2 when it gets released in September. Hope you all are having a fabulous day wherever you are, and until next time, blessed be.